Here on Question Things, we know you've got questions. Things like, why do good things happen to bad people? And what type of tree does a veggie burger come from? And what type of pellet gun should I buy? Well, don't worry, because we plan to answer at least one of those questions today. But first, I'd like to take a quick word from our sponsors.
But we don't have no sponsors.
Yeah, that's why I said I'd like to take a quick word from our sponsors. Not that we have them, I would just like to. To make moving targets, I quickly slapped some wood with a styrofoam target on top of one of my electric off-road skateboards. It has a remote, a forward, and a reverse gear, pretty straightforward. This is probably more fun than it is useful training, or maybe not, I don't know. We took turns using the remote, but you could actually operate the remote with one hand and the pistol with the other. The cool thing about using styrofoam is you get the positive feedback from the poop it makes when you impact. So the pros of this thing are, it's cheap. That's one. Muscle memory or trigger control practice that you get, that's two. And you probably end up training more often with a pellet gun if you get one, because you don't have to organize a day to go to your local shooting range. And then your off day comes and you're like, you know what, screw that, I'm not going to the shooting range, that's dumb. And lastly, you're a lot less likely to have the neighbors call the police on you. And if they do call the police on you, well, you're not breaking any laws. Plus, these things are really quiet. You can use them indoors in your basement. Plus, if you don't train with it, it's kind of fun to put your feet up and plink. Hell, you could put up a board in your living room or your bedroom and plink while watching TV. You obviously don't want to shoot the drywall, you'll damage it. Damn, I really hope there are no kids watching this. I can't remember if I told YouTube that this video was made for kids or not. Kids, if you're watching, don't buy one of these, you'll shoot your eye out. Just go run around with a pair of scissors or something. So if you get this Gamma one that I did, don't put any BBs through it. It says it takes BBs and pellets, but don't do that. You put BBs in it and they'll fall loose and end up rattling around inside somewhere. I've also found that it pretty much only takes either the rounded nosed ones, I think SIG, or the flat nosed ones, because the pointy tip ones are a little bit too long. They end up getting jammed inside and the cylinder won't rotate. One of the ones, I said I wasn't going to talk about this, but one of the pellet guns that I got was the SIG replica. It has the same weight as the actual SIG P320. And that thing sucked. I mean, it just sucked major butt. It shot groups of like 6 inches at 2-3 yards. I mean, it was, I'm probably exaggerating, but it just sucked. This one I got, this Gamma 430, it shoots straighter than probably my 9mm pistols. I'm sure there are better ones out there, so of course do your own research. But just so that you can see the level that these things have reached now, check out some of these. I mean, they cost about as much as a regular gun, but even still, because the other stuff like the pellets that they run and the air is all cheaper, you're still probably going to save money even if you spend $500 on a pellet gun, which I don't plan to. I like my 22, it's a lot of fun. But these high-powered air rifles are really silent, and they're actually more accurate probably. At this stage in development with these air guns, I don't think they're viable self-defense options. You could certainly kill someone with one of these things, but I wouldn't use it as my primary source of home defense. And that's mainly because you can't switch magazines and keep running. See, the glory of a bullet is that it's got the power inside of it. The energy used to run one of these weapons is gas. Yes, they run on gas. My AR is a direct gas impingement system. These air rifles, well, they tend to lose power with every shot you take, they lose a little bit of power. So you have to bring your own air compressor with you and refill. And for recreational shooting, that's not such a bad thing. But for defending your property, it's not a viable option right now. Before going into the Army, I had fired my guns maybe a couple dozen times. Still, I was a decent shot. I didn't know why. When I was a kid, although I had only fired maybe a couple hundred rounds from my guns, I had, however, fired probably tens of thousands, if not 100,000 or so pellets. And now, after having spent the last couple of decades shooting real bullets and going through many Army range qualifications, I think the reason why shooting was easier for me was because I had some amount of trigger control or muscle memory or trigger discipline or whatever we're calling it now that I had developed when I was a kid firing BB guns. Shooting is really more of a finger and mind thing than it is anything else. The natural tendency is to move your hand in anticipation of the bang. We also have a natural tendency to move our wrist with our finger. We also have a natural tendency to move all our fingers. We also have a natural tendency to do with both hands what we're doing with one hand. So we've got a whole lot of things working against us. The good news is you can get past all that with a stupid pellet gun. I'm not a serious air gun person. I'm certainly not an expert in air pistols or anything like that. Maybe someday I'll get into it, who knows. Technology is getting a lot better in that field. Some of the pellet guns they have now are just out of this world. You could definitely make someone very dead with one of these, but the ones that we're running are basically toys. And in fact, I'm perfectly fine with training your kids on how to shoot with a real gun. I think my mom taught me how to shoot when I was like 10 with a 22. I'm not going to waste your time with the ones that I bought that sucked. This one really gets the job done. It's pretty awesome. I think it's the Gammo. Let's see, what is this? Gammo 430, and it was like $45. And guess how much a can of 250 rounds was? $3.75. So why wouldn't you train with a pellet gun? I mean, there's really no money lost, and if you don't get a whole lot of training, if you don't think there's a lot of value there in training, well, I mean, you can still have fun with it, and it costs you next to nothing. So I'm a fan, I'm a supporter of the pellet guns. So this has these, whoa, this has these things that pop out. This is like what you would see in a revolver, this cylinder that like rotates. It's got two. It's got one on the top and one on the bottom there. So that rotates. You put little pellets in there. And then after you finish shooting all 8 or 10, whatever is there, you flip it over and you got another 8 or 10. So thanks so much for watching. I do value your time. I'm not even going to ask you to subscribe or anything like that. Just have a nice day. Thank you very much. So we're out in sort of a backyard area right now. We're kind of behind Frank's house, and so we're shooting stuff. We're kind of reviewing pellet guns. We're trying to find a way to shoot stuff without really pissing the neighbors off. Look out, Frank! And I keep hitting the mag release on this. It's really easy to hit, but I kind of like the mag release. Yeah, no, that's not the one. This one takes pellets, and that one takes BBs.
Oh, cool.
But what do you think? What are your overall thoughts on the Gammo 430, Frank?
That one?
Yeah.
I like it. Actually, a little bit lighter.
So
Trigger's nice.
Yeah, the trigger is like
A lot nicer than the other one.
The trigger's lighter. It's double action only, so it's a long trigger pull, but it's light and smooth. This one over here, it's got like a heavy trigger, right?
Correct.
And it's like, it's heavy and it's also long.
Long, yep. And how do you load up the CO2?
Oh, that one.
No, that one.
The back strap sort of comes off. I guess I should get better about pressing the safety button.
It's on safety already.
The back strap comes off sometimes.
Sometimes.
I haven't figured out an easy way to do it. You just kind of pull.
And this comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go ahead and change it now, actually. Yeah, there wasn't much juice left in that.